I was an 8th grader enjoying the summer when I got a call from this badminton partner of mine, Sam, who called me up and said, "Hey, Logan, I want to talk to you about this project I have."
Logan and I were classmates at Northfield Middle School, actually. So we were sort of adversarial.
We were vicious rivals.
Vicious rivals.
Uh-huh. And he talked to me about his ideas for a television series about Faribault history.
He was the only person I ever contacted about it. We had a similar way of looking at the world, we had a similar sense of humor, and how we problem solved really jived.
He convinced me through the awesomeness of Faribault and his very detailed plan that it would be something worth doing. And I didn't have a lot to do as an 8th grader, so I signed on.
I've grown up in Faribault, I've been here my whole life. There's definitely a lack of a community identity and consistent pride. I was also a history nut, and I did a lot of, goofy videos with friends. So when it came to trying to foster that pride in the community, what I knew was video, and what I knew Faribault had was this fascinating history.
The year is 1854. A fur trader named Alexander Faribault looks over these bluffs to the land below. He sees a river, teepees, a couple of houses. He sees people. He sees potential.
Where did we learn to write and produce a television show?
I think it was when we started writing and producing a television show.
Yeah.
Faribault is a small town in southern Minnesota. It has around 23,000 residents, all living in a space under 16 square miles. Not much could happen, right?
I'm Samuel Temple.
I'm Logan Ledman.
This television series, 1855, will tell the stories of people and places of Faribault.
It is frankly a little bit of a bizarre undertaking, but it really was exciting, and there is something compelling and beautiful about not only history, but Faribault's history.
Every town has a claim to fame. Detroit, Michigan, the automobile. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the airplane. Faribault, Minnesota, the tilt-a-whirl.
We're both mild egotists, so we always had the idea of...
Mild bordering on wild, but
Wow.
we were 14 when we started. And so a part of that was, we're going to show people that it's not going to matter that we're 14. We can still do something really cool.
Well, this month on 1855, we're talking about Bishop Whipple.
Oh, he was a big part of early Faribault and very responsible for why we have schools like Shattuck.
But that doesn't explain why we're up here.
Because it's cool.
One of the primary reasons why we continue doing this is because we do find it fun. We don't get any kind of school credit out of it, or it's just fun. We enjoy this process immensely.
And we have gotten a lot of support from the community, whether it's the local paper or the city council or in the comments on Facebook. This changes the way I look at small towns. This changes the way that I look at Faribault. Wow, I grew up here. I never knew there was so much there. After doing the television show for 3 years, we decided to, expand our horizons. We decided to play. It could be a fun way to do that.
That began a long process of figuring out, okay, who's doing lights, who's doing sound, who do we want for this person, for that person.
Tom, meet Alexander Faribault.
Alexander Faribault's strength didn't really hit us until we had decided for the show to delve deep into the history of the U.S.-Dakota War in the context of the times.
Mr. Faribault! Mr. Whipple. I possess an urgent request from Governor Ramsey. There's been an attack in Afton. It's a Dakota uprising, Faribault. 5 farmers were killed. The governor has called it war.
Suddenly, the U.S.-Dakota War of 1862 erupts, and it throws the town of Faribault and the state of Minnesota into a series of horrendous consequences. Alexander Faribault was part Dakota, but he was also mostly white. He had a position of power because of that, and he chose to use that in a way that was totally against the current of his times. He welcomed the Dakota onto his land after the war. something that the citizens of Faribault deeply, deeply opposed him on.
They will see that the love I have for the Dakota is not treasonous, but is the same neighborly love that I have for them. We are neighbors in the human race. That is the community of Faribault.
So he kept them on his land. After years of people no longer doing business with him, he was left in destitution and in poverty. And he faced the consequence of his decision, and he died a broken man.
He was poised to be up there with a Sibley or a Ramsey and have a chunk of the state named after him and him be looked upon as, you know, a god in Minnesota, and for him to instead stick by his morals, and that made his sacrifice all the more impactful. Logan and I are up there for curtain call, and so to see this group of several hundred Faribault community members cheering for Alexander Faribault and seeing these people connect with these historical figures, that was greatly gratifying.